Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Today we're going to revisit Marissa Matthews. It's been a while. I have some of her TikToks here and we're going to talk about them. So the first one, there is a comment that says, people who are actually confident and at ease with their bodies don't spend so much time making vids about being confident and at ease with their body. It's yourself you're trying to convince. So let's see what she says to that.
There's some miscommunication here with my content. I don't create my content to prove to people that I don't hate myself, because I know I don't hate myself. I don't need to prove to anyone I don't. And I'm not trying to prove to anyone that I'm confident in my body, because I just am. Okay? Clear on that point? What I am doing with my content is demonstrating the confidence so that other fat people can also have the same confidence. What? My content is not about you.
Okay. So I don't know if this works, just because when you're making fatness the focal point of what you're talking about on your TikTok, it kind of exudes that there's a little bit of an issue with it. If it was like you had your TikTok and you were just living your life, or you're wearing the outfits that you want to wear, or you're going to concerts, or you're doing things, like if it was more so that, in my opinion, that would be a more effective way of showing a fat person who's living their life. And I would probably support that kind of content, honestly, because I do advocate for people who are currently fat to go out and live their lives to their best ability. And, as long as everything's safe, I do advocate for safety and just knowing your physical limits depending on how big you are. I always keep in mind, my super morbid obese girlies and boilies. But always live your life to the fullest extent that you can. I think it's healthier. It gives you more optimism and even at times motivation to continue losing the weight. So I think it's a good thing, and I like seeing fatter people living for that reason, because I think we need to normalize that. What I never want people to think about is, I don't want them to think about having to hold their breath until they've lost the weight, or having to hold their breath until they're thin. That's a horrible mindset. And I don't think that it's at all helpful. So yeah, where I do have an issue with you, Marissa, is that you lie about certain things and you push certain ideas that are very incorrect. And we will get into some of that within this video.
My content is not to prove to the fat phobes that I don't hate myself. I just know that I don't. My content is to help other fat people and other people in larger bodies to feel okay about their bodies, and I do that by demonstrating that I'm okay in my body.
I don't know that you do, though, because you talk a lot about all these issues that you have, which I understand, it could be unrelated in some aspects, but it's really important to, I guess, keep optics in mind. I mean, it's tricky. It's tricky when you're doing this kind of thing, because they try really hard to glorify being fat or make it seem like it's a great thing, but then they have all these health issues or mental health issues and all this stuff going on a lot of the time. So I don't know, because it creates a pressure to just be something other than what you are. And I personally wouldn't want that for my channel. Like, I try to just keep it pretty real here. So I don't know. It's a tricky thing. It would be very tricky to be involved in fat acceptance, because if you show any little flaw, it kind of shows the cracks in it. Like, I don't get on here and talk about weight loss as a solution for everything in your life. I don't get on here and talk about how everything is amazing in my life because I've lost weight or anything. But I do talk about the health the health benefits that I've received. I talk about what does improve with time, and I share the whole journey. I don't have to have the journey be perfect. You kind of do, though. It's a tricky thing, isn't it?
Let's critically think here instead of just assuming everything is about you. Sound good? Okay.
So, to some extent, your content, it's not necessarily about the audience, but the audience will have a reaction, and you don't have to like every single reaction. I do say for some people, I don't cater to them flat out. There are certain people that I just don't. And yeah, I would say the biggest group of people that I cater to are people who want to know more about being obese or want to understand or know what's more helpful in terms of helping people lose weight that need to, that want to. And I tend to do my content to help support and in some cases show a way out. Like I did document my path out of supermorbid obesity on this channel, for example, because that can be a very hopeless place for a lot of people. And I wanted to show it publicly because I think it's important, because a lot of people don't believe it's possible. And so to show it and document it online over time, it was something that I could do personally to help the issue. Okay, let's continue.
Hi there, everyone. I'm going to take a moment for this ignorant person's comment to educate people on what an example of fat phobia is.
Okay, so this one, the person says, genetically different, laughing face, you eat copious amounts of calories daily. Fatness is not genetic. Bad eating habits are hereditary. Big difference. So let's see what she says.
And this is it. This person knows nothing about me. They know nothing about me. But here they are, assuming that they know about me. It's like they have cameras in my fucking house.
So what I will say is pretty much almost 100% of the time, almost, except for very, very rare exceptions, you can assume that a fat person is overeating. What you can't do is you can't assume why. You don't know if it's because of a medication. You don't know if it's because of hormonal issues. You don't know if it's because of mental health issues. You have no idea why somebody's doing it. So I don't think it's great to approach every single fat person with the idea that they're just lazy, because it may not be true in their case, especially in a super morbidly obese category, because it takes a lot to sustain that state. So there's usually bigger issues at play. And so it's important to, if you want to comment on it or try to help somebody with it, you need to look at it and actually know what you're talking about in regard to that person. In general, though, I think there are a lot of cases where people just don't have the time, or they feel they don't have the time or the energy to prioritize their health. And I think that that's pretty negative as well. But in most cases, it's usually because they're overworked, not necessarily lazy. But of course, there are some people who are lazy and some people who just overeat. So I think it's important to not judge why immediately, because you don't always know, but you can assume the vast majority of the time that the person is overeating. Okay?
They're assuming that they know exactly what I eat every single day.
It's not what they're saying, Marissa.
That I must be overeating because I'm this fat.
Fatness doesn't come from osmosis in the air. It comes from eating excess calories. That's where it comes from.
And guess what?
In some cases, it can come from hormonal issues and medications. In those cases, you need to weigh what's going on. And if you have a hormonal issue, you need to treat it.
But that's an example of fat phobia. Your stereotypes of fat people, your unrealistic stereotypes of fat people are...
This person didn't make any stereotypical statements in this comment. And it's not necessarily unrealistic either. So if you have something to say, you need to say something to disprove what they're saying, but you're not. So this is kind of weird.
Are clouding your judgment, and your biased stereotypes are making you come to this conclusion. This is not based in fact because you don't actually know about anything that I eat.
Well, then talk about it. What are you eating? That would be a way to refute it, wouldn't it?
Also, you're wrong. Yes, fatness is genetic.
No, it's not. No, your weight can change all throughout your life. Can your eye color change? Can your height change all throughout your life? Maybe a little, but not really. Your hair color can change with aging, but other than that, you're not going to suddenly go from naturally having black hair to naturally having blonde hair. But you can change your weight very drastically, and a lot of people have. So it's not genetic in the way that we understand genetic.
So that's another thing that you're uneducated about and ignorant about. So I hope you all learned that this is an example of what fat phobia is, so that you should not do it to other people. Thank you so much.
Truth.
So
So this one I actually saw on Naughty and Nymph. She covered this a bit in one of hers, and this is Marissa's kind of famous, like, being fat is feminist thing. So I want to go ahead and just share it with you guys.
So this is your friendly reminder that diet culture exists and creates this narrative just so that we can focus on our bodies instead of everything else in life, right? It's created to distract.
I agree that it's not good to focus too much. I really advocate for body neutrality. I think it's so freeing. I think it's helped me immensely to be body neutral and to not think about my body all the time and just accept my body as it is and be okay with my body changing. I think that all those things have really helped, and just keeping a neutral, unemotional mindset about it has been incredibly liberating. So I agree with that point. I think it's not good to fixate.
Distract us so that they can control us. Because
who is they? And do you think it would be easier to control a fat person or a thin, healthy person? Like, I don't know. It's an interesting question, isn't it?
if we spend our entire lives hating our body, then we're not spending our entire lives doing what we want to do. We're not having hobbies, we're not getting jobs, we're not getting careers.
So hating your body isn't a good thing, but getting your body to a healthy weight is a good thing. And you can still live your life during weight loss. So, yeah, I guess this argument doesn't really apply. It depends on what she's actually talking about, which we don't necessarily know because she's not clear.
Diet culture is a part of the patriarchy, and it is a system used to control women because of our bodies and based in our bodies. So the next time you want to hate yourself, don't. The next time you want to obsess about your insecurities, don't. And
I don't think it's very feminist to tell women to not care about their health and just kind of go for it, basically, and just gain tons of weight and not care about anything at all, like, and not even consider your health or any of these things. I don't think that that's a good message for women at all.
think about how you're fighting the patriarchy by not doing that. If you need a new motivation, use that.
I think taking care of yourself, eating appropriate amounts of food, having healthy limits in regard to diet, and having an active lifestyle or exercising plenty, I think all those things are great things for women to do. I will just say for the record.
I will say that this whole concept that I'm talking about in this video is like the one thing that made it like, aha moment for me back in the day, like 7-8 years ago. It's used to control us so that we can't pay attention to more important shit like ourselves.
Yeah, super interesting. Super interesting take from Marissa there. So I obviously don't agree at all. I I don't believe in the politicization of fatness. I think it's a horrible thing. I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever. I will continue to say that all the time. So trying to conflate fat acceptance with feminism, I think, is a strange thing. Very, very strange. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments below. I hope you guys are having a good week. I hope you're having a good day, night, whatever. And I will talk to you guys again very soon. Have a good rest of your day, night, etc. Peace.